One of the things in iLogic is known for, and what a lot of companies want to do with them, is product configurators. How do I develop a configuration of a product in which we produce here at our company rapidly, consistency, with a high level of quality and a high level of detail? So product configurators. So I have a few examples of product configurators. I've done a number of them in my career here. One that I did that I like to kind of demonstrate on a regular basis is just something I did for a utility company a couple of years ago. And if I crack this open, it's just a series of rules that allow me to develop a configuration of an assembly. So it's a little complex, but not overly complex, and I think it's a good demonstration example. So when I crack open this template, one of the first things that I have my logic do is it asks if I want to update the multi-valued lists. And I'm going to show you what that means here in a second. So this message box that came up is something that my rule that I developed is creating and then displaying whenever this file is started. So I'm going to hit yes, and I'm going to explain what that does here in a moment. So inside of my parameters here, I have a few parameters that are of a multi-value list type. Let's look at poll stock number as an example. Okay, so this is a utility poll configurator, and we're all familiar with utility poles. They're out there, and they have lines across them. They have little arms sticking out, and these wires go through them, and they're high above the ground to make sure that nobody interacts with them. So if I have, say in this example, I have 4 poles that I'm using. What if in the future I want 8 poles or 10 poles, or I want to be able to have this dynamic to some degree? So I have a multi-value list that controls the number of poles available. Well, right now, those multi-value lists get populated based upon information that I have inside of an Excel spreadsheet. So let me go to my data set here, and inside of this Excel spreadsheet is where I have all this external data that I'm consuming. Okay, so let me close that one. So in my poll data tab here are my 4 different polls, and here's all the information related to that poll. Okay, so I'm just looking for poll stock number. But if I wanted to add more polls to this spreadsheet, maybe I have more that I want to use within my automation. Well, I need to do one thing, and that's the first thing I need to do is I need to update those multi-value lists. Because the source of truth comes from the Excel spreadsheet, I need to make sure that my models are synchronized with my Excel spreadsheet. So the first thing I do when I open up this model is, do you want to update the multi-value list? Excuse me, which means I'm going to go out to the Excel spreadsheet, I'm going to look at all the information within those different tabs, and then I'm going to populate or update my multi-value list to make sure that my end users have the latest and greatest information for accuracy. So this is very important that we run this rule first. Then once we have the rule, then we can start doing things, or once we have the accurate information, then we can start doing things with it. We can start consuming it. So in the case of the product configurator, I created this form inside of iLogic that allows me to make a different configuration type. So I have all these different drop-down menus I can select and check boxes and feed in some information if I want to. So what does this do? Once I have all my selections created here or made, and then I hit update configuration. Oh, my bad. Let's see if it still runs. It should still run. So once I have all my selection made, I'm going to hit update configuration. And then what the automation is going to do is it's going to go out to, oh boy, this was just working yesterday, of course. Let's try that. Oh. Now, what it's supposed to do is just go out there and start pulling in the information needed for the particular configuration that I have defined here. And of course, now that I'm on a demonstration, it's not going to work correctly. Let's go back here. All right. So let's go back to Inventor here and take a look at something else. So what it does, after I go and collect all the information, then it inserts the components, and then I have the opportunity to then build the configuration. So you can build configurators inside of iLogic like that. Let me see if I have another. Actually, you know what? I'm going to try this one more time because I know this works. Sorry for the interruption there, guys. All right, go back to my forms here. Let's try this one more time. So I'm going to update the configurator. Yeah, of course. That's fantastic. All right, I'm not going to mess with this. Another example of a product configurator that I have, and I can show this. Webinar fun, right? I have this LSC. I've showed this off before, where as opposed to having an internal iLogic form, I have another form here that allows me to input information, and then I can build a configurator that way.